lot of agents build their whole YouTube strategy around neighborhood tours because on the surface it seems logical. They are local, they're visual, they're easy to film, and they're easy to imagine a relocation buyer watching it. And to be fair, they are very useful. But useful and sufficient are not really the same thing. I have seen a lot of real estate channels look relevant without becoming effective because they confuse local interest with lead generation trust. The tours make the channel feel active, but they don't do enough of the heavy lifting needed to turn a stranger into a serious relocation lead. So in this video, I want to show you where neighborhood tours fit, where they fall short, and what needs to surround them if you want a channel to create actual inbound business instead of just local content. By the end of this, you should be able to look at your channel and know whether you are building a trust system or just a catalog of places. So let's start with why neighborhood tours are so easy to lean on. Well, the first reason is because they feel safe. You can point a camera at something tangible, walking through a neighborhood, mentioning the schools, the restaurants, the parks, the commute, and it feels like you've made a video that obviously belongs on a local real estate channel. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. A neighborhood tour does give the viewer familiarity. It helps them visualize. It gives your local channel relevance. It can even improve discoverability because people are already searching specific neighborhoods. Those are real strengths. So it's not an argument against the tour. This is more of an argument against treating tours like a complete strategy. Because again, neighborhood tours can make a place feel real without making you feel trusted. And that gap is where a lot of channels quietly underperform. The real issue is that neighborhood tours usually create interest better than they create confidence. That distinction matters more than most agents really realize. A relocation buyer is not only trying to figure out what a neighborhood looks like, they're trying to figure out whether they would fit there. They're trying to figure out whether they would fit there, what the trade-offs are, what they might regret later if they just jump into this, which area fits their lifestyle, how different parts of the town compare, and whether the person that is explaining all of this is someone that they actually trust with this big move that they're making. And so a standard home tour usually doesn't answer those deeper questions. It does show the setting, but it doesn't always help guide that decision. And if your content is showing without guiding, the viewer may like the video while still feeling like there's no strong reason to reach out to you. And that is the first major reframe. The goal of a relocation YouTube channel is not just local familiarity. It's trust before contact. That's the real job. This is what I would call the trust before contact framework. A tour can help someone see a place, but trust is built when the content helps them think. This is the gap that most channels they never really close. And if your video helps the viewer picture a neighborhood, that's useful. And if your video helps the viewer evaluate a decision, that is where the trust starts to compound. That is why some channels with modest views still generate strong leads, while channels with plenty of local content stays stuck. One is showing places, the other is reducing uncertainty. Those are not really the same thing. This gets even more important with relocation buyers because relocation is very emotional. It's a big decision. These people are not casually browsing. They're carrying uncertainty. They're thinking about commute quality, school fit, budget pressures, social life, safety, long-term lifestyle fits, and the fear of making an expensive mistake in a place that they don't really fully know yet. A walkthrough alone rarely solves that issue. This is why home tour heavy channels can still struggle to create meaningful inbound business. The viewer can see enough of the neighborhood without seeing enough of your judgment. And they learn a lot about locations, but they're not learning the way that you think. They become more informed without necessarily feeling safer, and safety matters. Relocation leads usually don't appear when someone says, "I've seen enough of the streets. I know what the streets look like." They appear when someone thinks, "This person understands that this is a big decision and they can make this very simple." That is a very different outcome. And the reason why agents keep on defaulting to neighborhood tours is simple. Neighborhood tours are easier to film. They're easier to justify. They're safer to say yes to. They feel productive because they're clearly local and visually relevant. But ease of production often gets mistaken for strategic sufficiency all of the time. And that is the trap. Some of the most effective lead generation videos are less visual and more clarifying. They answer the hard questions. They expose a costly misunderstanding. They help the right viewer think through a risky decision. And those videos may feel less exciting to film, but they often do more of the trust work that actually creates the conversations. Clarity builds more trust than caution. This does not mean that tours are bad. It means that they need support. They should be part of the stack and not the whole stack. So the first thing that needs to surround them is decision content. These are videos that help people compare options, understanding the trade-offs, and rule areas in or out. These are videos like best neighborhoods for families, overrated or overhyped suburbs, which side of town fits your lifestyle, where does your budget stretch further, what buyers misunderstand about school ratings. And those are the videos that do more than inform. They help the viewer decide. And so the second type of videos that should surround your neighborhood tours are trust building content. And this is where your reasoning is obvious. This is like common relocation mistakes, what buyers regret underestimating, how to think about commute trade-offs, how to evaluate two neighborhoods that may look similar online but feel very different in real life. These videos help the viewer hear how you think, and that judgment is what makes someone feel safer with you. The third type of video you need is relocation education content. These are your cost of living type videos, taxes, insurance, seasonal realities, local myths. Practical problems that buyers are already searching for because they're nervous and they need guidance. These videos answer the anxiety behind the move. And when those three categories sit around your tours, the tours get much stronger because they're no longer just trying to do the entire trust building job by themselves. So the smartest way to use neighborhood tours is to understand where they fit in the buyer journey. Tours are often the strongest in early stage to mid stage exploration. They help someone get oriented. They help someone visualize. They make the area feel more concrete, more real. But as the viewer becomes more serious, their questions get more specific and more emotional and more practical. They stop asking, "What does this place look like?" And they start asking, "Would I actually like living here? What area fits us better? What would I regret missing? Who can help us think clearly through this move?" If your channel does not evolve with those questions, the viewer may keep consuming local content while forming no real trust with you. And once that happens, another agent can step in and win that relationship. That is the hidden cost of building a channel that shows up a lot but guides very little. A simple way to feel the difference is to compare the two viewer experiences. In one scenario, someone watches 3 neighborhood tours on your channel. They can picture the streets, they can remember the coffee shops, they have more local familiarity. In the second scenario, they watch a neighborhood tour, so they get all of that. They watch one video on the biggest mistakes people make when choosing between city living and a suburb, and then they watch another video on what families underestimate about commute times in that market. Which version is more likely to create trust? Which version makes you sound like a guide instead of a tour host? That is the real question. Because if you want better relocation leads, you don't just need people to see the area. You need them to believe that you can help them make that decision inside of that area. There's also a branding consequence here. If your channel is mostly tours, you can accidentally train your audience to see you as a local content creator instead of a strategic advisor. Those are not the same position. Local familiarity is helpful, but an advisor, that trust is what gets someone to raise their hand. The more your content reveals your thought process, your standards, your judgment, and your ability to clarify trade-offs, the more likely the viewers are to see you as a person who can help them navigate uncertainty. That is where better leads come from, not just from being present in the market, more so from being trusted in the market. If your channel leans heavily on neighborhood tours, the question is not whether tours are bad, because they're not. They're very helpful. The question is whether they are doing the job they were never meant to do alone. And if you keep relying on tours as your entire strategy, your channel may keep generating interest without generating enough trust. But when you position your tours correctly as one layer inside of a larger trust building system, everything gets stronger. The tours create the familiarity, the decision videos create clarity, and the trust video reveals your judgment. The education content reduces the anxiety, and together that is what moves someone from browsing to reaching out to you. That is when your channel stops being a catalog of neighborhoods to becoming a real relocation lead engine. So don't take this as a reason to stop filming tours. Take this as a reason to stop asking tours to carry your whole strategy. Use them for what they're good at, then build the surrounding content that actually earns trust. That is the shift. And honestly, that is the only part that matters if the goal is qualified inbound business. If this changed how you think about your channel, apply it, because one better content decision is worth more than 10 videos that are built around the wrong strategy.